right, we should be live. Let's check it out on Twitch. Yes, we are live. All right, let's check sound. Testing the sound out now. Yes, sound is great. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, this is the holiday weekend. We'll see how many people attend today because it's a lot of people are out of town today. But I am working. I have to work. We're going to get rocking and rolling here in just a few minutes. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. People are starting to come in now. I'm going to adjust my camera here. Let's turn this a little bit that way. There we go. That's a little bit better. I'm a lot more centered. Welcome to the Blender 3D and LightWave Roundtable discussions. So we're going to get started here in just about a minute or two as I send out little notices out to Facebook. We're going to have fun today. So there we go. Go to my edit option. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and send a little notice out to Facebook real quick to all of my Blender enthusiasts as well as LightWave enthusiasts. And we've got, what do we have here? We've got Blender 3D artists, Blender tips, Blender art design. As a group, we've got, I think I did Blender tips already. We've got the Blender Modeling and Artist Club. We've got the Blender Students, Blender Tips. Again, I think that's another site for them. And then, of course, we've got Blender Artists. And of course, we got to include Octane people in there because Octane was making a plugin for Blender as well. At least they had it one time, and I don't know if that's still a go or what's happening. I have not kept up with it at all. Octane Render. I see Octane for Poser. I see Octane for LightWave. And there used to be a site here called Octane for Blender. And for some strange reason, I'm not seeing it. All right. Okay, everybody, we'll get started here in about another minute or so. I want to notify all of my LightWave enthusiasts now. And that includes the LightWave 3D, the LightWave Users Group, LightWave Asia. We've got LightWave Tutorials Group. We've got LightWave Next, LightWave 3D, LightWave 3D Avenue. LightWave Vision West. And the 3D modeling for LightWave. Cool. Okay, so they're all being notified. Yes. Okay. Last minute little notification is always helpful. We'll see. Where you please, put in the chat box where you're from, what the weather's like in your area. Are you doing a little, time off this weekend or what? But let's we're going to have some fun here today. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see who's I'm going to share my screen. Let me find there's my interface. It's hidden behind me here. Okay, so let's go ahead and share the screen. I want to share my entire screen. And definitely it should be that one there. Okay, cool. All right, so I figured today we'll kind of like play around with some workflow ideas. And one of them is kind of a compositing technique I'm not sure everybody's aware of. Always been in Blender. Some people want to play around with their compositing output by turning on and off lights and models, but there's a more effective way. And we're gonna set something up real quick here. So I downloaded this. I didn't have time to make a model today, so I downloaded this one off of CG Trader. So this is a fun looking little model. I also downloaded another version, like kind of a Star Wars cruiser or Star Destroyer concept, but I kind of like this one better. And I'm going to just set up a little bit of a scene where we're going to get all different types of lighting and stuff on the model. And we're going to want to export this model without all that background in there. We want to creating a compositing technique where maybe I want to, export this out as a regular PNG file or something like that, right? Or maybe I want to render out this object with all the lighting from the background, but without the background being placed in there. So good morning, Ace Hoffman. Hello. Welcome to the Blender 3D and LightWave discussions. We got a fun one today, as I was just speaking about. Show you a little compositing, real handy little features inside of Blender. And I'm going to build the background separate from our object. And in general, I want to go over some workflow stuff today. I think is really, really, really handy. And one of them is, it's something in there it's been in there for a while that I don't think a lot of people know about. And it's changing edges to a curved surface. And I'm kind of writing this down. Curves from straight edges. A lot of people don't know about some of these features. And then we got some very interesting stuff with the new grid fill. I've been playing around with that a little bit too. So a little notes I'm going to make to myself down here. Good morning. Good morning. So everybody's late getting here this morning because it's a holiday weekend. So we'll see how many people actually show up this weekend. People like us, we're working. Artists are working. I've got the Blender introduction to Blender class tomorrow. I've got my Blender class for Studio Arts on Monday. So I am working. So as far as I'm concerned, I make my own holidays on any day that I want. So cool. All right. So inside of Blender, I downloaded this from CG Trader. I did not have time to custom make a model today. So I'll use this instead. I'm gonna set up a situation, and then I'll show you how some of these workflows are real nice in Blender in terms of compositing techniques. I'm gonna build a background around it. I'm gonna build a hyperspace background type of an effect. So, but what I want to do is I want to put the ship in its own little collection. So I've got the ship highlighted right up here. Let's see. Ace says, last weekend Blender class was really useful for me. I might need to show a vortex from a laser burst from a jelly like fluid, and what you did last weekend showed me how to do it. Good. Okay, I'm glad that was helpful. I think what I'm going to show you today is going to be really helpful too. But anyways, here from CG Trader, I opened up the shader nodes just to show you how they textured this object. You can see some transparent areas going on in here. The surfacing is a little more sophisticated. The modeling is fairly simple. Let's go over to get back on over to my find my. I'll just get rid of this. I'll go over here to the bottom left-hand corner. Left click and drag it and get rid of that so we can have a full view just to myself. There's a 3D full view here too. Isn't that nice? All right, so that's the shaded version. Let's go back over here, bring that like this. I'm gonna go back and see we got our game logic. This is kind of cool. I like the way this is set up. So I actually downloaded the actual blend file for this from this artist. I'm going to my animation tab, full view animation. Okay, this works. I'm going to use this one right here, and I'm going to just pull this on over the bottom. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I'm going to do this there, and we'll take this down to here like I started. Cool. All right, there we go. So there's a ship. Go to Z key, go to my material mode. We get to view this. I'm going to come. I've got another little preview up here. I don't like this setup, so I'm going to come back and cover up the top one with the scene panel. There we go. That's what I want. I like that setup better. I'm going to take the ship. I'm going to put it into its own collection. I'm going to call the collection ship. So hit the M key and left click on new collection. I will call this one ship. And this particular workflow, it's important that you have everything organized in collection. So if you got a background, everything in the background goes in the background. If you got a starship, you want everything to be unified, make sure they're all in their own collection. The ship itself, I created, that's the ship. Let's see what this cube is here. So again, this is not my blend file. Right, so we got other parts here that have not been included. So we're going to have to include it. So this is one of the problems with downloading somebody else's model. You never know exactly how they have it organized. And then over here, I wanted to make sure several things are showing, at least for today's tutorial. Right up here, you see this little funnel symbol. Drop it down. I'm going to turn on my layer locking system. I'm going to turn on that little monitor looking thing that actually turns on and off all of the not only the visuals but the effects and the memory associated with those effects. And then I'm going to turn on this thing called holdout, and I'm going to turn on this thing called indirect only. There. Okay. So we're going to have them all turned on. You can see them all except for the last two. They're there. They're just grayed out. Very, very, a gray on a dark gray background. They're there. So if I can click this, see? So they're all there. Okay. All right, now I want to make sure all the ships are in their own little layer. Turn that off, make sure I can see everything. And turn that off there. Thank you. Okay. All right, we'll explain those in just a little bit. So if I turn this off and on, all right, so I'm going to go select it with the M key and then select ship. Okay, now it's in there. Go to this one, turn that on and off, and you can see there they are. Those areas down there. Turn it on. Come on, thank you. All right, so hit the M key again and put that into the ship collection. So now when I go to the ship collection, everything is intact. What am I? I'm in material mode. Yeah, there's a little bit of a lag I've been noticing here lately, but that's all right. We'll work here in standard shade mode to get everything set up. Now we want to do the hyperspace effect. And I'm gonna drink some water here while we're chatting. Let me go ahead and maximize my screen too, so it's easier to kind of see what I'm doing. All right. It's holiday weekend. Everybody's out of town. That's okay. It'll just be us. We'll have fun with this one. There's my ship. I want to make the hyperspace concept. And with this model, I'm noticing a lot of lag time. So there's stuff going on in here that I'm not aware of that's causing that lag time. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in a hyperspace tube. So Shift A, go to my mesh, go over here to the cylinder. And let's go and flip that cylinder on this x-axis 90 degrees. So RX90. Let's enlarge that like so. We'll say the ship's going to go inside here. Command A and apply all transformations. Now, I'm going to come in here. There's something else I'm noticing too. I'm going to come in here to edit mode, grab the faces. Okay. Hit X key and delete only those faces. There we go. Okay, so there's my hyperspace tube. And I want to, something I've noticed about this setup. And again, when you download other artists' blend files, they've got things set up in such a way that's a little bit foreign to you. And you may have to modify some things. So I'm going to go back out to object view here. I'm going to go to my view tab. And you'll notice, and one of the things I noticed is that the viewing angle is really extreme. In other words, it's a very wide angle lens. If I get in close, everything is really stretched. I'm noticing that particularly with the tube. Now, by default, Blender gives you a 50 millimeter lens view or focal length. So if you think about a photographic lens, 50 millimeters is how the human eye sees things. So actually, I think the human eye is closer to 55. But And of course, everybody's sight of normal sight's going to be a little bit different. So human eyesight is 50. We'll say 50 millimeter lens. It's equivalent to a 50 millimeter lens. In terms of how we view things in the world, how things are compressed from foreground to background, focal length wise, is 50 millimeters. This artist that I downloaded from CG Trader likes to work in 35 millimeter. And you find that under, you go with your left side vertical tab here, which is the N key to make it open and close. That's a shortcut. Go to your view tab, third from the bottom, and you'll notice the focal length is 35 millimeters. And Blender by default is 50, and that's the way I like to work. So I'm going to put in 50, and boom. See, it's just, now it's become more telephoto. So it's zoomed in a little bit, but what it's also doing is compressing the foreground and the background information. I'll share that more with you in just a little bit. Also, I'm going to get in close. My end is working okay. I'm going to add just a few more zeros on here, just in case I start stretching things too far and I need to see further in the background. That's your end. So in other words, you're telling it how far in the background you're going to be able to see in perspective mode. So this is a lot of zeros on there. So, and the clip start is how close you can be. So he's got 0.1, which is fine. Blender by default, at least on my system, is 0.01. So I can get in really close without it clipping, right? Okay, so that helps. We got more people jumping in, but I can't see their names here. Say hello. You're welcome to jump in, say hi, and share where you're from, what the weather's like in your area. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and work on my hyperspace space tube. So we're going to go in the edit mode, select all, and I'm going to stretch this along the y-axis. So I'm going to hit the S for scale, Y for the axis, and just pull it out like this. All right, so it's going to be my hyperspace tube. Okay, so that's good enough. So let's just kind of deselect this here. Let's go back out here to object mode. I think I'm going to give this a smoothing surface because this whole thing is a CG effect. So right click and let's do sheet smooth. I think it'll be better. There we go. So we're going to smooth out all those facets in there. And if we select on the ship itself, right, go to the ship itself and hit the period key to zoom in close, we can see it within that tube area. I'm going to modify the back end of that tube just a little bit. And you're going to see why in just a little bit. I'm going to go to edit mode. I'm going to go to X-ray mode. I need to select the back end. So I want just the edge select here. Period key on the keyboard to zoom in close. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude out a little bit. So hit the E key. And that's going to extrude this out. I'm going to hit the Y key to fix the axis. And take it right about there. S key. And then I'm going to extrude it again along the y-axis, right about there. And just pull that down to real small, like that. Okay. We're going to give these surfaces now. I'm going to give these surfaces now. So first of all, I'm gonna go to object mode with the object selected. I'm gonna give the whole thing a single surface. Let's come down here, grab the material, and let's select new. And we're gonna call this one the hyperspace. Let's double click on it first. There we go. Hyperspace 2. Oops, let's put extra stuff in there. All right, and the same thing there I did as well. Okay, hyperspace 2. Okay, and it's done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to material mode. Okay, you can see what I've done. I've got it applied. Next, I want to go in that little piece back here that I tapered in. You're going to see exactly why I did what I did just a little bit. And I'm going to call that one the hyperspace end. So I got to go to edit mode for that. I'm just going to select that front and then zoom in close just to get something selected. X-ray, am I in X-ray mode? Okay, let me pull that back a little bit. I guess I can. I can select the entire thing this way. Yep. And we're going to give that one another texture. So I'm going to hit the plus sign right over here. Hit the new, and let's call this one hyperspace end. And then I'm going to hit assign. Okay. So that now that's a different texture there. And keep everything the way it is. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's go to object mode. And let's go ahead and start giving this our hyperspace texture here. And this is a real simple little tutorial. It's and I've got a light in there too that the previous artist has given me. So I'm not going to need it. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to turn it off up here. And I'm also going to turn off the rendering for that light, so I don't need it. All right, so with that too, there we go. Select it. I'm gonna come right up here, go to my, let's get out of here. Go to my ship, not the ship, but the actual cylinder. I'm gonna rename that one hyperspace. And that's gonna be my background basically. So I'm gonna put that in its own little group. So M key, new collection, and I'm gonna call this one background. And click create. Cool. All right. So, okay. So here we go. So just to reiterate here, here's my background. That's going to be my hyperspace tube. And then inside that tube is our ship, which is in its own group or collection called ship. Turn that on and turn that back on. Okay. Okay, so it's like targeting the ship, rotating around. And you can see that back end. See how I tapered it back there? And then I added that a separate material to the back end. We're about to find out what I just did in just about a few minutes. All right, so if there's any questions, just put them in the chat box. Welcome, everybody. Yep, people are starting to jump in now. All right, let's go texture this tube area. In fact, let's stay inside here so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to, all this is going to be from the perspective of the ship. And this may not be a bad idea. Go ahead and start setting up our camera. So I'm going to just set it up in perspective how I might want this to look. So maybe slightly off. I might want to... Let's point the camera at the object, okay? Now, be aware that I don't have a camera in here yet. So the camera is going to go in my collection 1. And I like to rename mine Lights, Camera, Action. Oops. Lights. My taping is doing terrible today. Camera. Action. Okay, so in there, I'm going to make a new camera. So Shift A, go to my camera, and just add in a standard camera. There, I've got a camera now. So now I can play. So I'm going to rotate it around, kind of point it right at my ship about there. And what I'm going to do is hit my Control, Alt, Option, and then 0 on the numpad. And that sets it up for my camera automatically. Okay, so how do I want to do this? Maybe what I want to do is connect the camera to an empty. And let's set that empty up to be associated with this ship. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the body of the ship, right click, and make sure the origin is set to the geometry. Okay. All right. So let me go get out. Let's go back to solid mode. There we go. Yeah, that origin should be set to geometry right about there. If I select on this geometry, kind of bring this back over to the side. There we are. And there's our origin. So I'm going to bring my empty to match that origin. So to do so, Shift S, cursor to selected. There. Now let's bring in an empty, which is going to be placed right at the center of my starship. So Shift A, and let's go to empty, and let's use a square empty, something that we can easily see. Now this would be kind of fun. And I'm going to adjust this. Now I can adjust this any way that I want. The ship is not going to move, by the way. So I'm going to just bring a little empty right about there. And I want the camera to point at that empty. So I'm going to call this one empty.camera. All right, so what we're doing now is we're just setting things up. Setting things up so that we can export these things out in some very interesting ways. Oh, I see what happened, what I did. Oh, he's got this mirror. That's why it got all messed up. So basically, I'm going to have to remirror this. I can probably use my... Now, I didn't realize that. No big deal. That's no big deal. We'll do it this way. I'm going to undo. Okay. And there's my orientation. I'm going to keep that orientation and just bring in my my empty and just base it on that location. So empty, let's go to the cube like we just had. Cool. All right, there's my cube. I get everything back to normal. I'm going to set this up like so. Bring the camera back in, Command, Alt or Option 0. And I need to make sure that in my view option, camera, locking the camera to view, hitting the N key, make that go away again. I'm going to kind of pull it out so we can kind of play around with this a little bit. Okay. So I'm thinking I want the camera to point at that empty all the time. So I'm going to target the camera right up here. And then third one down from the bottom on our vertical right side menu, we got a constraints option. And I'm going to take the camera and I'm going to track to, basically telling Blender to always point at something. And what is that something? It's going to be that empty. And I'm going to rename that, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and target the empty, and there it is. The camera is now pointing at the empty all the time. So if I go into my scene view here, wherever I move the camera is always going to be pointing at the object. Right? However I move the camera is always going to be pointing. You can see that little dotted line there. All right, let's kind of get in back to here. I'm gonna play with the camera here. Oh, that's the back end. I'm on the back end. Let's turn that around. There we go. And if you have problems, you can always go to your regular perspective view. I'm going to select my object, my ship, period key, set it up real quick, and then Control Alt 0 again. Resets your camera. And your camera like is all set up. You kind of do it this way. Yeah, it doesn't like that too much. So I'm going to kind of this flipping is probably too close to this. It's kind of pull this on in. There we go. That's more what I want. We'll go right about there. Okay. Rotate something like this. Go back. It's a little too close. Is what it is. Okay. All right. Now let's. I want to get a little overall view anyway, because I want to see the inside of this thing from a distance. Probably right about from there. Okay, cool. Let's go to our little tube. Go to my background here. Go to hyperspace tube, and let's go ahead and start texturing this out. Let's go ahead and add another window to the bottom. Let's come over here, go to the shader. And I grabbed the wrong one. Let that stay in 3D view. I want this one down here. There you go. All right, let's have some fun. What are we going to do with this? I'm thinking this is going to be an emission node. So actually the hyperspace wall is going to be emitting light. So all the effects we're going to create is going to be light based. So instead of using, and I can probably keep this principal BSDF, but I'm going to use an emission instead. And I'm going to just pull this out of the way. And let's go ahead and bring in a Shift A, Tab key emission. There we go. And let's pull that on in there. Okay. So I'm just going to play around with the textures on here. So I'm thinking one of the ways I can accomplish this is just go ahead and we're going to use a noise texture node. So Shift A, search, and we're going to add in noise. And there it is. It sees it. I'm going to bring in the color into the color. Not the strength, the color. And let's take a look at this from the outside. I want to, there's a couple of things I want to pay attention to here. I'm going to get out of here just quickly. Turn it around. And I'm going to bring in a color ramp. And I've got color ramp right here. We're gonna lock it in, and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna lock down this all of my transformations. There we go. Let's see. Let's go ahead and add some strength. There we go. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay, so I had the wrong texture selected. So what I've done is this. That emission node I do need. I'm going to keep it. I am going to get rid of this and these two here, because what I had selected was the hyperspace end. I want the hyperspace 2. We'll come back to the hyperspace end. Hyperspace end, this is good. That's set up. That's good to go. We'll keep that there. Now we'll come over to here, disconnect this. Now let's bring our emission to here. Oops. Let's plug that into your, oops, wrong one. Get this out of the way. I think I deleted a little bit too much there. Thank you. Want that over there. And we're going to plug that on in to our material output. There. Okay. So we got some emission. Now, what I think will be helpful, well, we'll wait. We'll wait before we go to the render mode. What I want to do is bring inside the texture. So, which is going to be my noise. And that was an accident. I'm clicking too many things today. Shift A, noise. It may be still there. There it is, right there. We're going to plug in the color into the color. There. Okay. So we've got some noise. And I want that noise not to be multicolored like that. I want to actually bring in a color ramp, which is right here. Drop it down. That's going to alter it to black and white. And I'm going to just strengthen it up like so. Now let's get inside. I was kind of getting close to where my camera is. And even though this is a fun little tutorial on how to do a little textured effect on the tube, that's not the point of the tutorial. But I'm gonna start to edit this to kind of give it the colors that we want. So I'm gonna grab this here, and I'm gonna add another node. There's another one I wanted to show you guys real quick, and that I've set up, and I think I left it on a thumb drive just on the other table here. Let me go grab it real fast. Give me a hot second. And I thought I left it in there, and I've discovered that I don't remember where I put it. That's all right. I'll show you another time. All right, so let's go ahead and edit this here. So let's change some of the colors up. We're going to change this to like a blue texture. So I'm just going to grab this here, grab that little node. We're going to click down over here and select. There we go. I might go a little bit of a deeper blue right about there. That looks pretty good. I'm going to keep the white where it is. I'm going to move the blue over a little bit. I can move the white in. It's kind of the closer, but again, I can adjust all of this as well to allow some of the light to kind of bleed, the white areas to kind of bleed through just a little bit. I'm going to add one more over here. It's going to be a similar color of blue, but I'm going to make it a little darker. So it's kind of a nice little transition. Something like that. Let's see, bringing the white over, what that'll do. If that'll have a, yeah, that's a little bit of a stronger effect there. Maybe I'll move these nodes back a little bit and just play with it. So I've got 3D in my texture option. And if I go over to 4D, let's see what that looks like. Okay. And what's nice about 4D is that you can go to the W and you can animate it. And that could work, actually. That could work. So if I'm pulling it, you get a hyper space effect. Or what we could do is we can animate the position of the texture. So if I pull this on back, let's hit the Control T using Node Wrangler. It will attach the texture coordinate and the mapping. So if I go to the mapping and say, animate along the y-axis, I can pull this like this. I've got that going. Or the x-axis, which is like this. That's going to move it straight down the tube. Okay. Or the z-axis, which we don't want to really touch, actually. So I'm going to go grab this. So I'm thinking animating along the y-axis. I'm going to go ahead and hit the x0 there. And just move the Y and see what it does. I'm also kind of liking that animating the W here. Let's see what it does. That does look kind of nice, actually. All right, let's play with that. Let's grab that. Select the W, put in our code, which is frame. So # frame divided by 24 and play it. Okay, so that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Now we're going to just while it's playing, we're going to just play with these. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to play with the sizing of the noise. So let's pull it up like that. I don't want it quite that large. Make it right about there. Okay. Not bad. All right, I want to add more. I want more. That's not enough. I want to add another texture, the same one. So I'm going to hit the space bar. We'll duplicate this one, Shift D, put it right below it. Let's kind of bring this up a little bit so I have a little more space to play with down here. It's like, where is everybody today? They're on vacation. We usually have like triple amount of people normally here, but everybody is out of town for the holiday. I kind of suspected it. I thought, you know what? Maybe I should not do a broadcast today. I figured, what the hell? I'm working, so I'll just go on and do it. I'm here. So there we go. So I want to mix these two. All right, I want to mix these two. Now, before I mix the two, I want to see what this one's giving me. So if I hold down Control and Shift and click on it, it'll only show that the effects of that particular node. And what I want to do is I want to make this very different than the other one. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to go to the scale, and I'm going to change the scale to something smaller like this. Yeah. Okay. Now, in addition, I'm going to add another. Well, you know what? I suppose I could plug this in. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we plug this into here. Will it take both? Nope, it won't. So I'm going to have to duplicate this. All right. I might even make this one a different color. So why don't we select this color ramp node, Shift D. Now I'm just playing at this point. I'm just goofing around. Okay, so I've got some. Now there's the smaller texture, right? Now I want them both to be animated. So I'm going to plug in. Well, they should be set the same, right? The W factor is set the same. All right, so if I play, okay, I'm not getting anything with this here. So I'm going to have to go back and redo this one. So again, we're just viewing this particular node. Go to the W, go to my frame, and divide it by 24 and play it. There we go. So there's my small texture. So we're gonna mix this with the big texture. If I click on the color ramp for this one, now we can view it with the color. Okay, so now I want to do something else. Even though we have this, I am going to make sure I connect it also to the mapping node. I've got my rotation here. and I'm going to animate the rotation now. So I'm going to take this, let's pull this up. I'm going to take this mapping node. I'm also going to connect it to the vector here. So they both are going to take on the rotation effects. So if I come to the y-axis, all right, so if I go to the rotation option here, I'm going to be animating the rotation of the textures here. And I'm going to give it the same frame, the pound key, got to spell it right or it's not going to work. Pound key frame divided by 24. Why did that move over like that? Okay. Let's see what it looks like. There we go. Now we got some spinning and some moving going at the same time. And again, we're just looking at the smaller textures. Now, if I want to change out the color a little bit, because we're going to be blending the two, I want to do that now. So I'm going to grab this blue. Let's go to something more magenta-ish like this. Yeah. I'm digging that. I want to come back to this node here, and I'm going to move it somewhere between magenta and blue. Pull this on up like that. Yeah, see? Somewhere in between magenta and blue. Make a subtle transition between the two. Okay, and then the black, I can adjust that accordingly. All right, now let's mix them. Let's go mix them. So we need a mixer node. All right, we need a mixer node. This principle we don't need anymore, so I'm going to hit delete it, get it out of the way. This is going to be my new shader right here. Your output's back over here, but it's currently just viewing that smaller texture. And we're going to put it in the mixer node. So let's pull this back over here like so. Shift A, go to Mix, MIX. Oops, I misspelled it again. See what happens when you misspell things? You don't get what you need. Mix color right there. And I'm going to just drop it right there. So let's grab the top one. And then I'm going to go select this and grab that one, color to the B channel. So there's an A channel, there's a B channel for mixing both colors. The emission needs to be plugged into the surface so we can see it. There. There it is. See? That's cool. Okay, that is cool. And I'm just kind of looking at it, seeing now. I may want to, I could add some yellows in there if I want to. So maybe for the smaller ones, maybe what I'll do is I'll put one more node in here. Change that to a nice bright yellow. There. Yeah, that's kind of fun. I'm digging this. This is good. All right, let's see what happens when we blend it. We mix it. We got the mixer node here. I need to shift control and shift click on this. Now it's showing the two. So if I go all the way to the right, it shows one only. If I go all the way to the left, it shows the other one. Oh, come on. The other one only, right? That's the first one we did. This is the new one. And we get a mix between the two. That first one, I think I can probably make it just a little smaller. So I'm gonna come over here to noise texture and make this a little smaller like that. Yeah. It's bigger than the other one still, but a little bit smaller. So now when I go back to the mixer node and blend the other one in, now I'm gonna show you another little nice little trick where people know that's inside a Blender, that's new version of Blender. Okay. I'm going to camera view, looking good. Get out of camera view. We need to bring up the emission strength first. So far everything is at normal, and bring it up higher. Actually, in order for that to happen, here, this is what I need to do, guys. This is what I need to do. You got to go to render mode. So Z key, render mode. There. Now we're in render mode. Just to make sure, yep, highlighted blue. Bring up the strength. You can go higher or lower. So I'm going to take it up to about there. Okay. And we need to do a couple of things here. Let me stop the animation. Let's go to solid mode. We need to go inside of edit mode for the tube. I'll tell you why. Let's go to, let me make sure, am I in, I'll make sure I'm not in X-ray mode. There we go. I want to make sure that my normals are flipped, which I don't remember doing. To find that out, I'm going to come up here to the top. Let's pull this on over. I'm missing some of my features here. That's the way the other guys set it up, and I can't remember the name of that menu. So actually, no, it should be right up here. Let me pull this one out of the way. I'm going to hit, yeah, I'll do it. I'll just do it the right way here. So go to the 3 key for face editing mode, A key to select all, and I'm going to come over, oh, you know, here it is, down here. Yeah, see, this artist flipped everything around. All right, he's put everything at the bottom instead of the top, which I do not like that at all. But who cares? Right over here, go to your overlay option, drop it down, come down to face orientation. The new Blender has a face orientation set up so that whatever is clear is going to be the proper direction of your faces. Whatever is red is the opposite, it's the improper direction of your faces. So to change that, select all. You simply come down to, now this is normally up here for you guys at the top. So let's go down to mesh. And this is the problem with teaching Blender in general, is that other artists will set things up. This is the way I like it, but then when you teach it, no one else's interface is set up like this. It's just that person. So I'll have one set up for my workflow, and I'll have another one set up for teaching. And this one's not good for teaching. This menu is normally up here at the top. Just FYI. So I'm gonna go to my mesh. You're gonna go to normals, and you're gonna go to flip there. So now we're seeing the normals correctly on the inside of the tube and not on the outside of the tube. That's kind of critical. Oh, everybody's jumping in now. Everybody's jumped in late today. Everybody's like an hour late. So it's like vacation weekend. They're sleeping in. Oh, by the way, if you if you want to share anything, I've got to have fun. You got to know that. If you want to share anything, here's the link to jump on live. Let's see. Ace Hoffman made some comments too. I want to address those. To share live. All right, go to share live. You are going to come to this link. All right, you're going to come to that link, the share live. We're going to just set up a couple more things here, and then we're going to take a 15-minute break, and then we're going to come back and show you some really cool stuff. So right again, what we're setting up here is not the crux of the tutorial. It's something we're setting up for the main portion of the tutorial. But this is all good stuff either way. Let's see. Last week's okay. I saw that one. So suggestion: just do the first half today. We have a reward for showing up, namely half a class, and you can get some time off. Oh well, I got a luncheon. I got a lunch treat, right? A lunch and a dinner treat. Meet a couple of friends, one for lunch, one for dinner. So I'll have plenty of time to relax. And then you and I, Ace, we got to get together too. We've been talking about that forever. So just message me your schedule and see when you're available so we can get together. You're right next door to me here. Skip your last comment. Too late. I go in order of how they're posted. Okay, and of course I posted that there. So anybody wants to come on live and share something, you're welcome. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just want to check one little thing here. That's done. That's all I need. I'm just going to go back out, get back out to object mode, go back to render mode. Okay. And of course, the redstone outside. Now, I usually keep that on. The face orientation, I keep it on. Now that everything is going to be clear for what I'm working on, I keep it on. So it always reminds me and shows me which side of the faces I'm actually viewing. Okay. So if I get inside, let me go to my camera view again. And let's play this. And what I need to do, I got the emissions here. Okay. So I want to do, you know what I'm going to do? I want to do one last thing before we go to break. Okay. Let me stop playing this. And I want to get the camera close like this. Okay. And then I'm just going to move it to the side like this. Oh, darn it. I hate when that happens. What is that? Moving back? Is that what I'm doing? So if I pull this here, if I pull it back, there we go. All right. I was rotating, which is what's screwing things up. And I shouldn't have been. Oops, I'll take that back. All right, so we got that going. And we can see the lighting. Now the lighting isn't strong enough on this. So let's see if I bring the strength higher. I'm bringing the strength awfully high, and it's not. I don't feel like I'm getting a lot of power. Oh, there we go. Duh, silly me. I was only viewing out of the one node. Is what happened. Remember I did the control left shift click on that mixer node to show the two. I was on there Control Shift click, it'll only show that. Now if I click on the emission, there's my emission. I went way too high. Way too high. So bring it down. Let's take it back down to 1, and we'll go from there. Oh, Kevin is going to join me, huh? Kevin is here. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
All right.
Great. Cool. You gonna share something in Blender today with us, Kevin?
As soon as I can figure out how this.
No, you're on. You're live. Yeah, so StreamYard's pretty simple. It's basically on the bottom, you can share your screen. It's a picture of your screen. And if you want to share. So StreamYard is not like Zoom. It's way, way simpler than Zoom. As a matter of fact, you think nothing's working because, nothing's working because it's that simple, which is what I like about it.
Yeah.
So if you like to share, which is why I gave this link, just sit tight, and we can bring you on after break. How does that sound?
I'm having trouble. I'm hearing you twice right as you speak.
That's because you have more than one browser open showing this presentation. Cut off one of your browsers.
Okay, gotcha.
That's a common mistake. Are you hearing me okay now? Yeah, just go find your other browsers. So you got it open. You probably got one in Twitch.
Actually, another tab that's open.
Right. You probably got one on Twitch and one coming through StreamYard. So okay. Just turn the sound off the Twitch one.
Okay. You can hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, now I can hear you normally.
Good. Yeah. So there we go. See, that's how easy StreamYard is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you play music through your computer, we can hear your music.
Yeah.
It's that easy. So right. So sit tight. So I'll have you share your screen when whatever you want to show. How many minutes do you think you need?
Maybe like 5 minutes.
All right, no worries. That'll be perfect. If you like, maybe we'll have you do your presentation first after break, and then I'll finish this one up after yours.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty simple.
Yeah, sit tight. I can see your face. There you go. I can see it. Great. Hello.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let me just finish this up, and then I'm gonna bring up a 15-minute timer. We'll take a 15-minute break, and then we'll bring on Kevin.
All right.
Cool. All right, I can finish this up. Okay, so now, see what happens? I get to talking, and I don't realize I'm still in the mix node over here. So Command click here, on the emission node, and it's currently. I hate it when I do that. Now it's currently 1, right? When I bring it up higher, there we go. Now that glow I'm getting on the ship, that's what I wanted to happen for the other part of this tutorial, which is the main part that I wanted to show everybody. So there it is. I got the highlights going, and then the last thing I'm going to do is, and of course, if I can just rotate that around like so. That little back end there where it's white is too big. I'm going to have to close it down a little bit somehow. I'll do that later. But anyways, I'm going to do one last thing. Something you probably weren't aware that you had in Blender. And I kind of addressed it last week, but I'll do it again this week. If you go to your render option, you have a glare controller. Now, if you don't see it here, because by default it's turned off, you're going to come over here and go to your edit menu, right? Edit menu preferences, and you're going to come up here, go to add-ons, and go to glare. glare node controller. Make sure you have that turned on. If it's not here, go to your Get Extensions and find it there. And you can only find it and get extensions if you have under System, allow online access turned on. So make sure all that's set up. And also play around with the Vulkan. Under the display graphics card, open GL as the default, select Vulkan. It's going to speed up Blender super fast. So just FYI. Okay, the reason, let me stop it. The reason, that might be too bright. I'll probably bring down the brightness a little bit. The reason I want the glare, because remember back in previous versions, if you're working in Eevee, you had that glare effect around your highlights and stuff, and of course it went away with the new version of Blender. Now it's come back, but you can do it in both Eevee and Cycles. It works for both. So I should be in Cycles. I'm going to scroll down there. I'm in Cycles using GPU, my graphic card support, compute. And then I'm going to come up here to, you have to make, I think it's turned off by default, but you click it to highlight it blue. And then you click on Enable Viewport Glow right there. Okay. And then Insert and Control Glare. Boom, there it is. You saw it glow. Now it's glowing. Now I've got streaks. All right, so I can control the size and the intensity of the streaks. I don't want streaks. I want bloom. There. Or let me see what ghosts look like. Let's play it. Okay, so that's ghosts. And then bloom. Now let's keep bloom. Okay. And this may be a little bit too bright, so I'm going to go back to the strength. Let's take this down to 3. There we go. So we got a little bit of highlights coming through, but it's not blowing out our color. All right, and I usually almost always have, let's turn that on. Under here, let's go on down toward the bottom, Cycles, denoise there for both the viewport as well as the render. Okay, so now I've hit the F12 key on the keyboard. Okay, so this is in slot 1. Okay, I'm gonna keep this as a reference. And then I'm going to go to slot 2 to do another one. But we'll do that one after we come back. So that's it. So I'm going to save this one, Command-Shift-S, and I'm going to call this one Twitch Hyperspace Tutorial. Cool. All right. So now I'm going to go get the 15-minute timer. Let's bring it on over. That way everybody can be reminded when to get back. I even do this for all my students in class. 15 minutes, the timer is up. Let's pause it for a second, go to 15 minutes and maximize it. So Kevin will be back in 15 minutes. And that gives me time to go make my coffee and then come back. All right. All right, 15, it's on. We'll be back. I'm going to mute my mic temporarily. It is that time. Yes, we are back. So, Kevin, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, there we are. We are both here.
How you doing?
Well, welcome. This is your first time on board, huh?
I'll be honest. For like the last year or two, I've been in the background. I would poke in and out of your sessions. Um, I'm
Are
a
you?
I'm a LightWave user originally.
Yeah.
I started with in 1990 with LightWave on the Amiga, and still in the closet somewhere. Um, but I started in computer graphics in 3D in the 1980s, so I've been doing this stuff for a while.
Oh,
um,
that's great.
but like most LightWave users, as the years went by and the program got bought by another company, and then it just kind of died on the vine. I, like many other users, had to figure out if I should jump to another 3D app. So I was always eyeing up Blender for the last 15 years.
Okay.
But I would open it up, play with it for 5 minutes, and then delete it. Because it was so difficult to use. But I've kind of found the light, so to speak, with Blender. I think in the last so about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5, I've been using it. I started using it. So I needed a project. I would start a project
Sure.
because just doing tutorials isn't enough for me to learn Blender.
No, you got to have a reason to use it.
Exactly. I needed a series of shots that presented a different problem each one that I would have to figure out. So
when you're forced to when you're forced to problem solve with the program you've got, that's how you really learn it.
yeah, exactly. So
I started off as a LightWave user. I started in version 5.
Yeah.
Way back when. Did you know Dave Gerard and Jennifer Ishigian?
I don't know them personally, but I've always known them in the LightWave community.
Right, they're personal friends of mine. So,
mm-hmm.
so they that was how I learned, from their books.
Yeah, I still have books down here with their names in it. But
but mine are signed.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day when we had to learn from books, before, people forget YouTube didn't come out until like 2006 or 2007, right?
Oh my gosh!
Before that, you had to read the stuff. You had to buy books.
Yeah, that's right. The educational market has really changed.
Yeah.
Even the colleges are trying to rethink how to educate people now, because the internet and the technology has changed the perception of education and the abundance of education.
Yeah.
Because the real artists out there, the people like you and I who are doing stuff with it, are out there showing people how to use it, and they're not just relying on a college classroom to learn it.
Yeah.
So it's a different world now. So yeah, well, what would you like to share today? Go ahead and share your screen.
Well, I had a question. I'm like new to sharing on this platform.
Sure.
Does it also share audio from your computer, or just
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Well,
you're going to find out how easy this platform is. So don't even think about it. Just connect.
Yeah.
So down on the bottom, you see a picture of a monitor.
Yep.
Click it and share your entire screen. It's going to give you options. You want the entire screen, not the application. Yeah, a lot of people in our group are LightWave or Maya. I mean, I'm the lead Blender instructor. There you go.
You can see that?
Yes, I can. I'm going to remove my screen and add your screen. Now your screen is showing. We can see everything perfectly.
I think I'll just show like one of my first things I did with Blender in order to learn it. I actually started this in LightWave.
Okay.
As something that I would do in between projects.
Have you actually brought stuff you've done in LightWave into Blender and see if you can improve upon it?
Yeah, one of the things, what was his name? He wrote plugins. He wrote the OD tools.
Oh yes, yes, I know who you're talking about. German. Oh,
Yeah,
what's his
he
name?
had a little script inside of LightWave that allowed you to basically, if you were a modeler, I could just copy my object, jump over to Blender, and
Yes,
paste it in, and that was awesome.
right.
So I would start when I first started in Blender. I couldn't model anything. The whole modeling thing was so weird for me. So it took me a long time. So I would still model in LightWave and then bring them in and do everything else. But I'll just show you this one project that I
Okay.
started learning with. The first few shots were done in LightWave, and then from then on, I started learning Blender, and I continued with it. It's if you ever saw the movie Fantasia, 1940 version, the Disney
Yeah.
film, there's a section of the movie called "The Rite of Spring." It's done to a piece of music, and it shows you like the dinosaur evolution, from amoebas and right through their extinction. So I just recreated a part of that section, about a minute or so of that. So here's that. Hopefully the audio works.
Oh, that's great.
That's as far as I got.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. You did a great job.
Thanks. The one of the things that attracted me to Blender was it had two internal renderers. One was cycles, obviously, which is like the LightWave render, and Eevee. And the Eevee thing, I'm on an old computer. I haven't upgraded for a number of reasons. I'm trying to make my LightWave not break. I don't have any of the new LightWave versions. I'm not buying them anymore. So I'm afraid if I upgrade my computer, LightWave might not work and some of my client work. I might have to change, from years ago. I do medical animation now.
Blender will accurately read your LightWave files. You simply export your LightWave file as an FBX. Bring it
Yeah.
into Blender, and it's accurate.
Yeah. So yeah, this is all done in Eevee, and I used the kind of the toon shading look to do it. Yeah, so I was just the first few shots, like I said, this is a LightWave shot. That one's Blender. This is LightWave, and from here on, it's just all Blender. So yeah, it's a pretty cool. It was a neat project because I had to learn rigging, and setting up the skeleton system and everything, and how to do all that stuff. And there's just a lot of neat things that Blender has, which LightWave didn't. Not to say that it wasn't achievable, but I think some things are just a little easier in Blender. And to be honest, some things are easier in LightWave. I find that Blender can bury a lot of tools in all these little menus that you have to search for them. Yeah, I've got all kinds of other things. But the one thing I wanted to show was just like a quick tutorial for showing how dominoes would fall. Setting up like a row of dominoes,
Yeah,
and having to topple them over. Not the pizza dominoes, the game. So I'm just going to start with our default cube here, and tab into edit mode. I'm just going to scale this down into the rough shape of a domino. And I have an add-on called Drop It, which just places things on the floor, which is kind of nice. You don't have to like.
Right.
That's the other thing I can't get used to is Z up. I can't tell you.
I have I have that. Well, yeah. Well, okay. So that's interesting. You should make the comment about the Z up. The Z up is important because Maya and LightWave, the Z axis is going in and out, right? And that's the way we've been working for years. But in the real industry, the 3D printing industry, the CNC industry, anything making 3D objects, you know, in the machine, the Z axis is up. So all Blender did is match the Z axis to the real world CNC machines and 3D printers.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm gonna. There's kind of a. I'm on an old version of Blender here because I'm on an old computer and my operating system won't allow me to.
Well, what version, what operating system do you have?
Well, I'm on an old iMac, and the only version I can load of Blender that's the latest for this machine is 3.4.1.
If your machine won't load the 4.5?
Yeah, Blender has a minimum operating system, minimum requirements for operating system. And I don't meet that anymore on this computer. Eventually I'll upgrade though.
Have you tried?
I've tried downloading it. It won't install. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it even allows me to download it.
Okay.
But I don't think anything will be different from what I'm showing you here to versions 4 or 5, what you guys are using. Okay. So one of the things I have to do in this procedure, I'll go to the top view. To top view. First, I'm going to add a curve. I'll tab into edit mode and delete the vertices of that curve. And now I'm going to draw the path that I want my dominoes to, topple on. I'll just draw something like that. Okay. Now I'll add a plane object. Now I have to parent the cube, my domino, to this plane with Command P, Control P. And if I go to the settings for this plane, for the instancing, if when something is parented to the other, the parent you can instance to the parent's points or faces. So I don't want it to instance to the vertices. I'm just going to instance to the face, which places it right at the pivot point. Now, with this object selected, I can go in and add a modifier, an array modifier, and I'll tell it to fit curve. And I'll tell my curve to be that. So it's going to give me the right number of instances to fit the curve. So now I'm going to use a curve modifier to bend it around the curve. And this step here with this 2 steps with this domino and this piece underneath it, this flat plane, the plane is getting distorted like crazy. If I just did the same process I showed you without that plane, the domino would get distorted.
Yeah, the domino would distort.
Yeah. Right. So now the domino's clean.
And you can adjust the spacing as well.
Yeah. But I can tell this is fine. This is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to just apply these here. And I'm going to go to Object and Apply and make the instances real.
Right.
And while these are all selected, I'm just going to go to the rigid body system and add active to these guys. So if I hit spacebar, they're just going to fall to their death right now. So if I click on this bottom, this path that I've created, I'm just going to add a rigid body passive to that. So now when I hit spacebar, the dominoes are just sitting there.
I say let them fall to their death and crack up into little pieces.
Maybe next time.
Okay.
All right, so now I need to topple this first guy into this guy. So I'm going to do something that's kind of neat in Blender. I'll insert a location and rotation keyframe, and then about 6 frames later, I'm going to rotate and have it fall into this guy. But you can see it's snapping back.
Right.
That's because I have
Orientation's is at the top in the middle.
no, it's let me find this here. I always get lost still in these menus. Okay, there's for the rigid body for this particular object, there's a setting in the rigid body called animated, and if it's checked, it's going to allow me to look at the keyframes that are on that object.
Yep.
If it's not, then it's just going to use dynamics and just have the object participate in a dynamic system. So I'm going to click animated. Now it's going to allow me to use these keyframes that I'm setting to set the initial motion of this guy. So I'm going to just have it kind of fall into this guy. And I'll hit another location and rotation keyframe.
And then that'll interact. Yeah, nice.
But you notice this guy's just sitting here because he only has 2 keyframes. Now here's the neat thing. If I go to frame 6, I can keyframe this animated to turn off. So I'm going to set a keyframe at frame 6. I'm going to move ahead to frame 7. I'm going to turn off animated. So now it's just going to be part of the dynamic system again and fall to its death. So I'll hit a keyframe for this guy. So now it's part of that. And now everything's moving way too slowly for me. So I'm just I'm going to jump over to, where is that hidden here?
Under your scene tab.
Yeah, I always
scene tab and go to your caching.
Oh, here it is. Under rigid body world. Yeah, scene properties. I'm gonna use the speed multiplier and bring it up to 4.
Or you could cache it, and then it'll be done.
Yep. Of course, some are
That's
falling
nice.
off.
Nice job. Nice job.
Thanks.
I love it.
And of course, if you want, you can add a regular floor plane.
You can hire some student to do all the texturing on each one.
Exactly.
Very cool.
So, yeah, so that's that.
So Blender is addictive, isn't it?
Yeah, it does have. There's all kinds of things that are showing its capabilities that I don't know that LightWave would have ever gotten there. There's AI integration, which I'm not a huge fan of AI yet, but there's an add-on that I have in Blender that I'll use sometimes. It allows you to ask. It's like a Chat GPT for Blender. Yeah. If I say, how do I make a geometry node setup for whatever, it'll give me the steps. It'll print it all out and say what to do. It doesn't do the work for you.
And what is the name of the plugin?
What's that?
What was the name of the plugin?
It's called Blend AI.
Blend AI, yeah, that's right.
And it just allows you to kind of, it's like a helper. You don't have to keep jumping over to YouTube and searching for a video. It'll actually just give you the steps to do something, how to set up a geometry node flow for doing something. And I found it's pretty accurate. It doesn't mess up too much.
I'm teaching a Blender and AI class at Studio Arts right now, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah. So that's all I have. I don't want to take up any more of your time if you don't.
No, that is fantastic. I think that was well worth the time.
All right.
You did a great job. It'll be nice if you come back and join us more often and share more often.
Yeah, I haven't. It's taken me a while with Blender to kind of get up to speed, and
it's going to take you a lot longer while. Blender's deep. I mean, when I first started learning Blender, it pissed me off.
Oh yeah, that's why I keep deleting it.
That's right. It's kind of like, wait a minute, LightWave, I can do this way easier. Why does Blender do this? But when I started to understand why Blender did what it did, then I realized that it had way more capacity than LightWave.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. I love this.
This was just another short. I'll show you real quick, and then I'll hand it back to you.
Sure.
This was a character that I made in LightWave years ago, 20 years ago.
In my Blender Brilliance class coming up, and you might want to consider taking this in the advanced Blender class, we do a lot of rigging. I love it.
That's as far as I got on that one. So
Yes, that is fantastic.
thanks. Yeah, this space guy I built like, I don't know, 20 years ago in LightWave. In Blender, you can see like the pose I have him in right here. I don't have him weight mapped correctly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like tearing and stuff on his spacesuit.
You got some comments here. Blindwave says that is amazing. You've got Blindwave also says Walt is rolling in his grave right now.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I really like about Blender.
There's a question too. How did you do your sound?
I downloaded stuff on YouTube. You can download Warner Brothers sound effects, and those are music cuts from the Warner Brothers Looney Tunes cartoons. I just downloaded that stuff off of YouTube. I use After Effects to put all this together, to do my editing, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things like in LightWave, the thing I never liked was you could make metaballs, but they didn't work with the particle system. I couldn't attach a metaball to a particle flow. You had to use hypervoxels to get that sort of effect with the blobbing stuff. But in Blender, everything seems to work together, which I really like. Things don't seem like separate islands. So that was a bit freeing for me once I started to get into Blender more. But yeah,
Have you noticed that Blender will handle large amount of geometry very effortlessly?
Yeah.
Compared to LightWave.
Yeah.
LightWave starts to choke up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, and
but I hear that they're working on that now.
Yeah. Once in a while, I tune into their channel on YouTube and look at the recent additions to LightWave, and they have somewhat of a, I'll say, an EV sort of viewer in LightWave.
Now, your landscape? Did you create that manually or?
No, that's I went to the NASA. Our NASA website has free stuff because it's all paid for by our taxes. And that's a section of photogrammetry done. It's really actually, a low res model. It's all the texture maps. That
right. Because their high res models are really high res.
Yeah. This one is not. And, so I just downloaded that and I'll just copy it, move it, a mile away, turn it, piece it together to kind of fill in the landscape. But yeah, I've got tons of stuff. I met this one guy who was using Blender to create a comic series that he did, and I'll just show you this one. Tell me when you've had enough and you want to kick me off.
Oh, this is cool. This is great.
Okay, here's another thing. Like I said, this was another Blender guy I met. He doesn't animate anything. He was using ZBrush to sculpt his creatures, and then he was bringing them into Blender, and now he's building them in Blender, and then he'll render a still out, and he'll create his comic, and he actually prints them. So I saw his stuff, and I was like, hey, can I animate one of your scenes from your comics, because it's just such a neat thing. So here's a thing that he creates, a series called Quantum Binary, and this is just a short clip from one of his comics.
Nice. Huh.
Acquire.
Greetings, Quartermaster. I will be on this fair afternoon in your search for provisions. What are you?
I like it.
Acquire.
I love it. This is great.
Thanks. Yes, this is the dude.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I think I would have been pulling my hair out in LightWave. I'm literally recreating his pages from his comic.
Okay. So you got your storyboards all done.
Exactly. Yeah, I picked a scene that was not too difficult and not too long, because he's got some really neat stuff in his comics, and I'm like, man, this would take me forever, but I just want to do something for just to get something done.
And it gives you a clean perspective on what you need to do.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and the one thing I love about Blender, like I was saying, it has the two renderers. I got into it for Eevee because there was a time when I thought, should I learn Unreal Engine or stuff like that. But Eevee, I'm on an old computer. These take like 5 seconds of frame to render in Eevee. Cycles turns the fan on my computer and feels like I could cook dinner on it because But so I really don't use Cycles for rendering.
They're improving upon both because Eevee is getting closer to the quality of Cycles.
Yeah.
And Cycles is starting to get faster.
Yeah. I could show you one more thing if you want. Like I said,
you're welcome. Go ahead and share.
Okay, I don't want to take up.
I don't think anybody's going to have an objection to what you're seeing here. This is good stuff.
Stephen, you're on the West Coast, right?
Oh, say that again?
You're on the West Coast?
Yes, I am. Where are you located?
I'm in New Jersey.
Okay, I'm in San Diego. I'm in the area where the weather sucks everywhere else on the planet.
I don't know. My brother lives in San Diego. I thought the weather was nice.
He's in the area where in San Diego does he live?
I forget his address offhand.
What city?
In Chula Vista.
Okay, yeah, that sucks.
I've never been there, but
right now Chula Vista is close to 100 degrees. Where I'm 7 miles from the beach, so I've got nice weather.
Okay. Well, here on the East Coast, in Pennsylvania, there was a movie back in the 50s called The Blob.
Yes.
It was filmed locally in and around Pennsylvania.
Wow, my favorite.
So
with Steve McQueen.
Yes, his first major role. and he's the only good person in that film because everyone else sucks. But they every year, for like the last 25 years, the town of Phoenixville holds a festival called Blobfest.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they celebrate the filming of that. You know, that the town of Phoenixville, Main Street, still has the original movie theater in that movie where all
where the blob attacked.
Exactly. Yeah. And the people run out. So last summer, every year they have a contest. They have all kinds of contests for costumes and stuff, but they always all have a video contest. If you want to create a video, so people will shoot things on their phone that are blob related or sci-fi related to enter into this contest. You don't win anything, so it's just more for bragging rights. So last summer I made my own blob entry, and I'll show you that one right now. It's another short one.
And you got a comment from Ace Hoffman saying this is some terrific stuff that you're showing.
Oh, thank you.
And then LightWave also made a comment. He said he just did an EV and Cycles render test this morning. Cycles is still superior for surface reflections.
Yeah.
I was so blown away. Yeah, that's true. Cycles. Remember, EV is not a ray tracer.
Yeah.
It's basically is using the OpenGL technology, and they're trying to push it as close as they can.
Yeah.
To ray tracing, but it's not. It's all vector based color and strokes.
And because EV doesn't render like Cycles gives you grain.
Right.
So
yeah.
you either have to use grain management or lots of samples.
Right. Cycle's going to give you the photographic realism that EV cannot provide. Now they can get close with EV, but EV cannot provide it because remember, EV is a vector. It's a vector tool compared to a raster-based tool. I think the best way to explain a ray tracer is that it's a raster-based system.
Yeah.
And that is compared to vector. So.
Yep. All right, I'll show you this blob one real quick.
Cool. All right, looking forward to it.
Okay.
Cue it up.
If you've ever seen the movie, the first minute will seem very familiar because I'm recreating the end of this movie.
This is the part when it gets on his hand and maximizes so you can see the whole thing. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay. Dave, listen, I want to...
Well, but the blob was bigger than that.
For a while, I didn't think we were going to make it. That makes two of us. What are they going to do with that thing, Dave? Well, the Air Force is sending a globe master in. They're flying it to the Arctic. It's not dead, is it? No, it's not. Just frozen. I don't think it can be killed. But at least we got it stopped. Yeah, as long as the Arctic stays cold.
Now it's melting. Nice job. Uh-oh.
In the coldest depths of the Arctic, a secret lies dormant, buried beneath the ice for decades. It was thought to be gone forever, but evil never truly dies. As the world warms, ancient threats are unleashed. From the depths of the unknown, a sinister force awakens once more.
Oh, great.
As the gelatinous terror engulfs everything in its path, can anyone survive its relentless wrath? Prepare for a heart-pounding battle against an unstoppable force of nature.
Uh-oh.
Will humanity triumph, or will the blob's reign of terror be everlasting?
This is great. That was great. So they did a sequel to the Blob. Remember, Kevin?
Yep.
Do you remember the sequel to the Blob? The Blob. I thought it was called The Blob Returns.
There
They
was a few Blob movies.
Not the new ones. It was based off of the Steve McQueen one. I think it was in the 70s. It was made. It was a sequel to it.
Yeah, there was something in the early 70s. I'm trying to remember an actor.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah. It's I'm surprised they left. They didn't know about global warming back then, so that ending was like, I think they just sort of said it in the ending. But like, when I heard that, I was like, whoa, I can do something with this. But yeah, it's
okay. They said the first sequel to the 1958 movie The Blob was in 1972, a film called Beware the Blob.
Yeah, not a good film either. Way worse than this one.
Well, the new ones are like graphically gory. I mean, I thought the original one was scary because it left a lot to your imaginations. You see people getting wrapped up, but you don't see them getting dissolved, but you know they're being dissolved.
Yeah.
But in the newer films, I think was it the 80s they did, or what?
There was
the new version.
There was one in the 80s called The Stuff, I think.
No, it was called The Blob. It was named after the original film.
Oh yeah, you're right. With
the Blob.
Yeah, that one wasn't too bad, actually. I know what you're talking about.
It wasn't too bad. It's just, let's see. I'm looking up here. Wikipedia, 1988. Here it is, 1988 film.
Yeah,
it was in the 80s, and that was gory.
Yeah,
and it was based very much off of the original. And then, of course, they did a sequel to that as well, if I remember correctly. More gore.
Now, some of this stuff that I'm showing, I didn't go full-blown and do it all in Blender because I'm a visual effects artist, 3D guy by trade. I've worked on movies and lots of TV series and stuff, so I don't believe in doing everything in 3D. I'll composite stuff. So nowadays, you can download bits of animations or pre-rendered stuff, like underneath the crate there where its ground is cracking away. That's compositing. I'm using a clip of some footage that's pre-rendered 3D stuff and compositing it into the shot.
Got it.
And then this scene here, where this whole side of the ice thing is collapsing, and that's footage from actual icebergs, cavities and stuff, and I'm tracking it into my 3D shot. I'm blending it in to the composite because doing that in 3D would be tough with all the particles and
and you don't really need to do it in 3D because time is money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to do this and there's so many libraries with those effects already there for you.
Yep.
Just go get the library, composite it in.
This little crate blowing apart, this is the explode modifier in Blender. The explode modifier uses a particle system to drive the components of a model to blow apart.
Yeah.
It basically attaches the parts of the model to the particle system. So I just have a particle system blowing apart,
So I think if the blob goes in the water, then you should show the blob eating fish and whales, and then it gets to the humans.
Yeah, that would have been a longer video. Oh, this is the other neat thing. Blender has that ocean modifier. That's what this is.
Oh, that's great. Blender has a fantastic ocean modifier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, so BlendWave says Kevin Bacon in it. Kevin Bacon's in everything. That's great.
And I find in general, it's a lot easier to bring characters in and do the animation stuff than it was with LightWave.
Right.
I use that site Mixamo to do to download a lot of motion capture files.
Yeah, Mixamo's good for that, right?
Yeah, and Blender has like all this stuff I'm showing with these characters running. They're different motion clips mixed together. Blender has the nonlinear animation editor, which allows me to basically take the motion capture clip, press a button, and it sucks the data into it, and now it's just a clip that I can stretch, or LightWave had that too. It was called Motion Mixer. So that's how I'm doing it in Blender, is the nonlinear animation editor. I can blend, someone, running and then falling, two different clips. You can just kind of dissolve between them real quick, and the character will fall to the ground or something.
Right.
And this is the actual building that I modeled. That's the Colonial Theater and it still exists in Phoenixville in Pennsylvania.
Wow. Great. That's great.
Thanks.
This is great stuff. Everyone's enjoying it.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you for being here to share all of this.
Oh, no problem. I got tons of stuff. I mean, these are all things that I learned Blender with. I just usually I'm thinking of things that I did in LightWave, and I go, how would I do that in Blender now?
Right. Right. You got to learn Blender the Blender way. You can't learn it the LightWave way. It won't work. Oh, this is great. I love it. So you recreated this thing. Oh, I love this. This is one of my favorite scenes. This is Sinbad, right?
Actually,
Jason and Argonauts.
Jason and the Argonauts, yeah. Except, I'm using, I couldn't find Greek figures already made. I didn't want to build them, but
okay.
So I found these knights instead to download.
But, one of the best scenes like this of soldiers of this era fighting skeletons is in the Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
The Game of Thrones at that tree, I forget what they called the tree. The scene where the dead protected the tree. And they came out of the ground to attack the soldiers.
That was a cool scene.
Oh, that was a really, really frightening scene. I mean, I thought that is the best I've ever seen in terms of a homage to Harryhausen.
Yeah. Now I used at the time, I did this like last year or something. Adobe has Firefly, which is their generative AI thing, and it was. I was on the beta thing while I was. They didn't have it freely available yet, so I was on a beta thing. But I used it to create the shield texture maps for these skeletons. Yeah. And I just typed in, I forget what I typed in the prompt, and it gave me something in like take one, and I was like, huh, that looks pretty cool, because I didn't want to paint these things up in Photoshop, these designs. Right. So I just used. You can just probably use ChatGPT now to do this. And this is all Eevee stuff, I think this one's Eevee, yeah.
Yeah, I guess for this you don't really need the cycles. I guess you can if you can push it off, if you can pull it off with Eevee, this is going to make it so much faster to read.
Yeah, there are things that Cycles is way better at. Like Eevee does a great job with subsurface scattering.
Right.
But the Cycles version does look better. It does mathematically. You can see it's doing the right things.
And
but
for cartoony stuff, Eevee is great for. I mean,
yeah.
Cell shading technology. Eevee's perfect for that.
I'll show you another quickie thing here. This was another test. There was a movie called Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah,
the one that Frank Oz did, not the one from the 1950s.
Like, feed me, Seymour.
Exactly. And I always loved the design of that Audrey, plant. So I wanted to make one in Blender, and so I recreated some of the shots from this movie.
Oh boy! Look, I got an idea.
Oh, this is great.
I'm to pick up some nice shots on.
Must be blood.
Tony, that's disgusting. Must be fresh. I don't want to hear this. Does it have to be human? Does it have to be mine? Where am I supposed to get it?
Missy Mo. Feed me all night long.
So this shot with him, that's the actual Audrey from the film. I didn't paint that one out. I just left that clip in. This shot, what I did was I downloaded a clip from the movie, and then I tracked the shot because this shot has a camera move on it.
Great
So
job.
I tracked the shot, and then I told ChatGPT to try and make a clean frame for me, which it kind of failed at. It took so many times to get like a clean plate without the plant in it because I'm adding my own Audrey. So anyway, I had to make it my own clean plate. But I rotoed Rick Moranis out here and put him back in the shot in front of it. But you can see Rick in the movie, he was passing in front of Audrey and casting his shadow across Audrey.
Right.
So I made a stand-in Rick Moranis in 3D that doesn't render, but he's casting a shadow across my.
Got it.
So,
So you're keeping the actual character in the plate, but then you throwing in your 3D character as a shadow caster.
I'm trying to see Audrey. Trying to find.
I would love to see the plant one. Ah, there she is.
That's not the shot with him though.
Where am I supposed to get it?
I don't know if you can see this shape right here. That's my stand-in.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Yes, I can. There it is.
It's just enough to throw a shadow,
Yeah, super low res shape.
Yep. And all the tentacles that are nicely, moving around. That's a neat modifier. That's where am I here?
Noise modifier?
No, it's the damp track.
Oh yeah.
Now I had to bake it because there's like issues with having it live, but it's called damp track. And what you do is you apply it to each bone on the chain. Each bone looks for the next bone as part of its setup so that it can kind of correctly. So anyway, I'm just animating the bottom root bone, and everything else I'm getting that for free.
That's great. You know what? That might be a good tutorial for you to do next week.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you consider I'm doing that for next week? Do applying the depth track to like a tentacle or something.
Okay.
All right, let's do that. And there's a chat box inside of StreamYard here, and I think it's the private chat.
Oops.
Send me your email and your cell number.
Okay.
So we can keep in contact, and then what I'll put you on the agenda for next week to do that. That will be a good one. I think that'll be great.
All right.
So this is awesome. I'm so glad you were able to share this. So yeah, plan to come back. Usually we've got we get a variety of other people on here every week, but
yep.
It's usually myself and the vice president, and but it's always great to get other people on board to share their knowledge and their skills.
Yeah, and I'm still learning Blender. I realize 30 some years of using LightWave, I don't know if I'll ever have enough time to know what I know. What it took to learn all that.
I use Blender, and I'm serious about this. I use Blender every day.
Yeah.
And I just scour tutorials just to see if there's something I should be considering in terms of workflow. I'm putting into the chat box in here for everybody. I've got a 5-week Blender class coming up on September 14th, and this is the Intro to Blender class. Make sure you use the discount code, and I'm going to put in discount code SDPUG 2025. 2025, got too many twos in there. 2025. I'm misspelling things today. It's kind of weird. SDPUG. There we go. Making sure I'm spelling this all right. So my third monitor, which is across from me. So here is the discount code SDPUG, San Diego Photoshop User Group 2025. Use that discount code for the class. Now, for those of you who are a little more advanced, I've got the Blender Brilliance class. I'm going to put that in real quick. Blender Brilliance. We're going to be getting into rigging and animation. There you go. And again, it's the same discount code for that class. That oops, did I put the wrong one in there? Blender that was Blender Brilliance class 14. Sorry, I meant to. I want the intro to Blender. Yeah, I don't know that dates. The date happens in October. I don't know why it's saying Blender Brilliance September. That's just if you go to here. I tell you what, we'll go to the website. I'm gonna stop sharing your screen, Kevin.
Okay.
I'm gonna share my screen so that way I can see what the heck I'm doing here. I'll bring my website. Oh, come on, stay there. Thank you. I got 3 screens. Everything's moving on over. My personal website, everybody. I'm going to just give you the link to that. And these are 5-week classes, and they're inexpensive. If you go to the workshops link here and go down to the Blender 3D, you see the two. Yeah, October 19th is the Blender Brilliance. And if you click on the little button within the Blender Brilliance class, there it is, October 19th, and 5-week class. This happens after the introduction to Blender class. So if I go back to workshops again, go back to my Blender 3D, and go to my intro to Blender over to the left. There. Okay, that one starts September 14th. So that's the intro to Blender class. So if you have little or no experience in Blender at all, or if you feel you need to really fill in a lot of gaps in your knowledge, do this class. And then right after this class ends, you go to the advanced class afterwards. So it's very inexpensive. So just go on and put in the discount code. It works out to like $360, $425 normally for 5 weeks. Every class is recorded, and it's on Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for 5 weeks on Sunday mornings. So use the discount code. It works out to like $361 or $62, something like that. Really inexpensive. And you can be getting 5 recordings from each of the classes, so which you get to keep forever. And it's on Zoom, and I only allow 10 people. And that is it. It's not a large a group. I want to keep it private. I want to keep it small, so that the learning capabilities go up. Cool. That was it. So then I'll share the rest of what I was going to share. And again, Kevin, thank you so much. You can stick around. You don't have to leave. You can stay right where you are. And where was I on this one? I was oh yeah, we put in the glare node, right, to kind of get the little more glowy effects going on around there. And we can control that. If we come up here to the render option, right, we've got your threshold. So in fact, if we stop it moving here, and if we move the threshold to the right, you get less of the effect, and pull it to the left towards 0, right, you get more of the effect. So between, I kind of gravitate between 0 and 1. We got smoothness, just, you can see it's subtle. So if I kind of come over here, go to the top, pull this here, let me go back over to my menu over here, my view menu, and turn off the camera to view. And then I can kind of move this larger like that, so it's easier for everybody to see. Okay, so now if I go over to my smoothness, you get to see it's kind of giving you a little more, a stronger effect along the edges of the main portion of the glow. We can go to clamp, so it's a little bit more definitive. And the clamping maximum, I'm going to just play with that. You see the lighting happening here on the ship. By getting closer, is a maximum, right? Clamp the 0 or higher effect. I'm going to keep it there. Strength is high. Saturation is obvious. Dealing with the color. We can even change the tint as well. Let's see what happens if we change it to something like a yellow. No, I like the white. The white washes out all the other colors. And that's the washout look is what we want. Okay, so yeah, so there we go. Now, here's what I really wanted to show. We could bring in another light in here. I think it would help. We turned off the one that came with it, so I'm gonna turn it back on. And pull this back a little bit. And let me go and get the light here, select it. It's right down in here. It's right up here, actually. So I'm going to go hit the 0 key, get back out here and to see where's my light source. Is it outside? Light. It's right on the inside, right in there. There it is. Let's bring it down. I want this pointing at that empty again, just like the camera. So select the light source. Let's come down to the constraint properties. That's right above my light bulb symbol. On the right side vertical menu with the colorful icons, constraint, track to. Track it to what? We're going to track it to that empty again, right there. So I can go to the light source and it's always going to point. I'm going to bring it out a little bit. Let me go to my stay in perspective view here and pull it out a little bit like this. Go to the light source. This is sunlight. And if I bring it up, let's see, let me go and make sure I'm in Z key render mode. I am in render mode. Okay. And let's go exposure. There we go. And I think what I'm going to do also is just bring it downward like this. Maybe bring it off to the side. Change the color. Match the color of the surrounding area. Just something quick. Okay, bring exposures up a little bit, maybe something like that. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm gonna go here. Let's go back to the camera view and we play it. Okay, there's the lights. So just a quick little light in the front. The ship I downloaded from CG Trader. It was just, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't have really enough time to create something new. Now, the purpose of the tutorial is to talk about some of these compositing effects. You want to export this out, maybe as a PNG file. And what most people might do is you want to export it out, but you don't want to include none of the background. I'm going to be anal here for a little bit. I see this big white area, which I don't like at all. Let me hit 0 to go to perspective, click on my tube, and I'm going to, let's just go out here to go back to material mode. Pull this on out. And it's because of this. Okay. I'm just going to go to solid mode so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Okay. Go in edit mode. Select this. Get in close. Grab these edges here. S key. Now, to see what I'm seeing through the camera at the same time, I'm going to split this screen off again. Hit the 0 for the camera mode. Z key, render, there. Get out of edit mode over here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, come back over to here to the right side. Let me go back and get my background sector 2. There it is. Now I got to go back into my edit mode, which both sides does. I wish Blender didn't do that. I wish it would separate the two, but that's okay. I'm going to select that little portion right down over here just to get in close. Go back to my edge editing view 2 key on the keyboard, and you can see way back here. I'm gonna hit my S key, thank you, and just bring it down smaller like that, really small. There we go. All right, so if I go back to object mode, yeah, there we go. That's what I want. All right, so I'm done with that. So I'm gonna just pull that back over. Go back to this view here, render view. There we go. So we got a real small back there. That's what I'm looking for. Now if I play it, okay. So I want to take this object and I want to render it out. In other words, I want to keep all the lighting quality on the object. If you wanted to just export out this ship, most people would say, okay, go to the background because I've got to separate it, right? And I'll just turn off the background and then I'll just render that, all right? But then you lose all the quality of the light on your ship, right? It never renders out. So this little camera, 35 millimeter camera on the right-hand side, you would also, for your background, you will also need to turn that off as well, which means shut the render down. So if I hit the F12 key for render, which is the same keyframe for render and LightWave, you've got it right here. So there's your render. Okay, so this is my render dialog box. Right up and kind of move it around a little bit. There we go, right here. This is slot 2. Slot 1 was the original one we did right before break. Go to slot 2, that's the render, what most people might want to render if they want to render out just this object. So I'm going to show you something different. So we're going to go to slot 3 now. And we're going to turn back on the background. So turn on the render capabilities and turn on the monitor so we see everything. So the idea here is to turn off the background, but maintain all the lighting that's on the background on the ship. So I want to see the ship as we're going to be seeing it in film, but I want to composite out the background. So this is all compositing techniques. Okay, so this is going to get really interesting, and it's really easy. All right, I'm looking for something here. StreamYard, I'm going to check that one out here. I'm going to move this back on over, out of the way. So now, watch. Look right over here to the right-hand side. It's hard for you to see it. Remember, I organized everything into their own groups. Your background, your ship, right? And even my lighting quality is all in their own group. We've got compositing features built right here into these layers, right? Right up here into these layer views here. I'm going to pull this one out so we can see everything. Okay, there's my camera, sun. I'm just going to cascade that all up. On the right-hand side, it's hard for you to see. It's very light. We've got what's called holdout, and we've got what's called indirect only for lighting. Indirect only means only show the lighting that's emanating, or the quality or the effects emanating from the background. Don't show the background. The way you get these turned on is this little funnel right up here at the top. Drop it down, and it's these two on the very end, the last two on the end. This is your indirect only to the far right, and this is your holdout, just second, right to the left side of the arrow. So make sure those are turned on. And I'm going to go to the background, and I'm going to hit the arrow, and look at what happened. The background went away. But if we play, you can still see the lighting on the ship. It's all still there. It's a beautiful compositing technique built inside of Blender. So now, if I render this out, F12, there's my ship with all the lighting and everything on it without the background. Now we're going to see the difference between the two. We're going to see the difference between indirect only and holdout. So now I'm going to go to slot 4. Okay. And this time I'm going to turn on and then click on holdout. The same thing happens, right? So if I play it, you're going to see the difference. And now we're going to render F12. There. Okay. So we got slot 4 and slot 3. Slot 4, this is the holdout, right? So I'm going to go to image menu, save as, and inside, this is inside the special project, Starship Concept. I tell you what, I'm going to put this on the desktop. I know I can find it there. And I'm going to make a new folder and call it Twitch. New folder, call it Twitch. Where did it go? There it is. Things are just moving around on me today. Oh, it's already in there. Okay, so Twitch, and I'm going to call this one Holdout. Okay, and save as image. And then the next one, was that holdout? I don't remember. Let's see. Let's come over to here to the slot 4. Slot 4 was holdout. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Slot 3 was indirect only, if I remember correctly. So image menu, save as, indirect only. Okay, and then save it. All right. So what I'm going to do now is go into Photoshop and open it up. Let's go over to here, go to Photoshop, right there. You see the difference between the two. So they both are essentially the same with an exception. Okay, let's get rid of that. Save it, and let's go open. So Control O. Let's go to my desktop, and Twitch is the folder. There we go. All right, holdout. Let's do holdout first. Look at what you've got. Why are these things go away? Got it. Thank you. All right, looking at your layers, what you have for this one, for the holdout, is you got an alpha channel. Go to, right, you have an alpha channel. So if I put a new layer on here in Photoshop, drag it to the bottom, and fill this layer with the foreground color, which is Alt Option Backspace, you've got an alpha channel. The other one, which is indirect light, you don't have an alpha channel. It flattens your background out to a flat medium gray. All right. There is no alpha channel in here. But you still get the same effect, but it's all gray. So you got basically a blocked out plate back here. So that's what I wanted to show for today. After creating everything else is just icing on the cake. I just wanted to kind of show this compositing technique that's built inside a Blender, which is really, really handy. So if so basically Kevin had, for his animations, he has one for his background, maybe one for the sky, and one for the character. You may have another for the rocks or the boulders or the trees in terms of groups, right? Or collections. You can tell each of those collections to go, on or off at will. And you don't have to go into the compositing tab to do it.
I was using the film. Is that still a thing in your newer versions of Blender? It was called film. You had to check this little box and it would drop the background out.
Yes, it's still there.
Okay. That's what I was using.
I think that's under the camera view. I think that's under the camera. So lights, camera. So under camera, yeah, I think it's under. Or was that? No, that was under preferences. Gosh, I'm forgetting where it is.
Yeah.
No, under
It's
render.
the render properties.
Render, right. Render property, render.
Film.
Well, I'm not seeing it here.
Maybe they did get rid of it.
Let me
Can you
see.
scroll farther? There it is. Oh, yeah, farther down.
Down.
Right at the bottom.
There it is. Film. There it is. Right. The film, and then
That transparent checkbox.
that's it. Transparent glass. Transparent there. Yeah. Or is it exposure? I think it's exposure coming down to 0. Or is it? Not sure.
I was using that transparent checkbox to create my,
That's
alpha
yeah,
channel.
the creature alpha channel is that's the way you would know where we used to do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's just right here.
Yeah.
Just check it. So now I just go to if I go to my background and I want it back, I just uncheck, in this case holdout, and it comes back. So lots of things are changing in Blender for the better. It's a lot easier now. It's a lot easier. So this is a good one. Everybody came late today. It's like an hour late. Everybody came an hour late. Normally everybody's here right on time. But I figure this is a holiday weekend. Everybody's kind of like sleeping in.
Actually, that holdout thing is there in my version too. I just never realized what it did.
Here we go. Somebody finally admitted the three off words here says, sorry, I slept in. Aha. Yeah, that's what I figured. Because normally it's like we got everybody coming in right away, right at 10 o'clock. And it's like nobody came in until literally it's like two of us until 10, until 11 o'clock. Then everybody started jumping in. But these are recorded, right, guys? So here, let me show you the recording. Bring this on up. So all of our presentations are recorded. Go to YouTube. We have an official YouTube site. And I will get it for you. We're already there. So I'm going to go to the channel, and there it is, Blender users. This is where I put every week we do broadcasts. They go right here. Literally. And there's a whole bunch of others in here too. All right. And I got to get in here and rename everything, all that stuff, but whatever. And I'm going to put this in the chat box. So Blender YouTube, our official Blender YouTube channel. There. You've got it right there. So go get it and bookmark it. Okay, so that's our official Blender user channel. And we also have an official Discord channel. So let me go back to Discord. Go find it. There we go. Let me bring it on over. We have a Discord channel right there. And we got a lot of options here. We've got you get to go to general, where you get to chat with people, homework submission. These are all coming from all of my Blender classes and workshops that I teach. You can see what people are doing. In the classes that I teach, I'm the lead instructor at Blender instructor at Studio Arts, and almost all of my students are seasoned professionals, 10 years or more Maya professionals who are now coming over to Blender. So you get to see, their what they're learning, how they're learning, and homework, shortcuts. We got PDF shortcuts for all of Blender. 4.5 is the latest, but we got other versions leading all the way back up to version 3 at the top. Plugins for Blender that I think are really cool and is helpful with your workflow. They're all right here. Go get them. And this is all on our Discord. We've got 3D print discussions. That's for my 3D print class. But you can come here and you can look at the rest of these. These all are related to the various classes that I teach, but you're welcome to come in and check it out. And if you want to join, if you're not in our Discord yet and you want to be a part of it, then I'm going to right-click with invite people. I've got an official invitation. Hold on a second. I think my assistant has already put it in here. So let me go to homework. Let me go to general. He may have put it here. Here it is. All right, so there's something different. There it is, Discord, right there. All right, so I'm going to drop this into Discord. Not in the Discord, but drop the Discord link into Zoom. There. All right. So you want to get involved, become part of the the Discord Blender community, our special channel, Discord channel, and it's huge. There's a lot of people on here. Come in and join right now if you're not already there. That's it. I think we're done for the day. Let me kind of turn that off right about there. So Kevin, thank you. You were wonderful. So next week, Saturday, plan to show that that modifier for creating tentacles.
Damp track.
Yeah, damp track. And I will come back to show something different in Blender.
All right.
Cool. All right, everybody. Have a great holiday weekend. And we'll see everybody later. Have fun. And I'm going to end the stream now to